Hi, Annie.
Hi, Claire. How are you?
I'm very good, and you?
Very well, very well. Here we are.
Here we are again. So, what could we possibly? What topic could it be? COVID could be. What could we possibly talk about today, which is controversial, scandalous,
I have an idea.
and is on everybody's tongues at the moment?
I have an idea.
Go on.
Squid Game.
Oh, fancy that. Squid
please,
Games.
please, let's talk about Squid Game.
Well, I imagine you watched it.
I'm on episode 4.
Okay.
I've only seen 4 episodes so far.
Yeah, I think I've seen a full one, and then I've seen a few snippets of others.
Okay.
But I have kind of read up a bit about it and just basically been exposed to all the controversy, yeah? But
Yeah.
an interesting thing, like, obviously this was created by Netflix. What do you think? It smashed the record for the highest views over another series which was released last year. So what do you think, what series do you think it could be? Thinking about Netflix series, this has obviously smashed all records of viewers.
Yeah.
What do you
I know
think?
the ones that I really liked, but I don't think that they were that, like, there's like the Umbrella Academy or the Ozark. Ozark was a big one. I don't know.
Was that Netflix though? Was it?
Yeah, that was Netflix as well.
That's like a long time ago. Ozark's about 3 or 4 years ago.
True. Okay.
No, it was actually Bridgerton.
Really?
You know,
Bridgerton?
talk about polar opposites. I mean,
Oh, that's
that was
weird.
Like, that was the record holder before Squid Games. So,
Oh my god! I didn't even see that one. I don't have any
I just
interest
think
in it.
I looked at it and it just reminded me. Just honestly to God, I just find it vomitive. All this, again, another series about the monarchs and the.
Yeah, it didn't attract
no,
me at
not-
all.
not
It
at all,
doesn't.
so, no.
Yeah, I'm not into that
But
period.
I couldn't believe when I saw that.
Really? So Bridgerton and Squid Game.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but it makes you think about how exactly do they measure popularity? How do they measure?
Yeah, right?
You know the way things are studied now. It's not just how many viewers. It's
True. Okay. I would
it's
just
kind
think
of-
it was the most viewers or something.
Not necessarily, because then you've got viewers who saw one episode, viewers who saw the complete series, and apparently they've all different metrics now to measure different things.
Yeah.
And one of the metrics they use is not so much how many people actually watched it. It's more to do with how valuable those viewers are. Like, that's called the AVS apparently. Like,
Okay.
yeah?
All
So
right.
it's like if we just carry on and go Squid Games, Netflix, Squid Games, maybe we might get 44.4 million viewers.
Oh, Squid Game. Squid Game. Let me repeat that. Squid Game.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, have you seen Squid Games? It's on Netflix.
Yeah. Right. Okay, wait, but I do really want to talk about Squid Game.
Okay, go
because
on.
I
Yeah.
haven't
Enlighten me.
I haven't talked to that many people about the actual show, the actual drama of it, because I feel like, as I said, I've only watched 4 episodes, but that's over 2 months, because I actually have to sit and let the whole episode sink into my mind.
Yeah.
Because I find it incredibly intense. And I feel like there's all these messages going on that nobody talks about when they talk about Squid Game, pushing people to the extremes, what we may do if we're put under pressure, how much pressure, how people act in different circumstances.
Well, the actual guy, the director, he thought about through his own personal experience of being in debt, because everybody is
right?
indebted.
Yeah.
No, everybody in the
That's right. Huge debts,
Yeah.
Living on the extreme, but it's not just debts because they're gamblers. It could be debts because they're refugees, or debts because their mothers need surgeries that they can't afford.
But they've reached desperation point now.
Desperation point, exactly. And how human behavior, changes when you're in a desperate situation. So I wish that was what people were talking about more than the fact that it's kids' games.
Yeah,
Because I don't think that's really...
the message.
No, that's not the message of the show.
But is that not the subtle way to get kids to watch it? Because it is over 16s, and yet I know that under 16s have watched it.
And that just flabbergasts me, because, like I said, I have to, sit 2 weeks consuming the episode, in my mind, just to, understand all the dynamics happening there.
So how would a 12-year-old deal with that?
Exactly. I can't even imagine, a 12-year-old watching this show. I really can't.
Do you think it's because of, as a result of other violent games that have become very popular with young people? I don't know, like Fortnite, and because it's a kind of gamey, like I'd like to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the statistics, but I mean, our viewers, I'd like them broken down by age.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Okay, so I do have to say about the violence in this show, it's very kind of Quentin Tarantino violence, where for me personally, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, here you are, and then you're dead. Huh?
Yeah, and it's almost like I don't want to say it's funny, but there's some kind of like it's done in a way where it doesn't feel like completely real. You know, maybe it feels like a video game, and that's maybe why it's so
But
attractive.
they don't really
to
see it
kids.
like these people actually were killed.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, to me, honestly, the hardest thing about it is, like, the decisions people have to make, or, you know what I mean? Like, that for me is, like, when they're thinking about, like, they're going to do this because of their family, or they're going to do this. Like, for me, that's the thing that I have to wrap my head around, not necessarily the violence. I don't know. Yeah, but again, I can't imagine, like, I don't even think most adults understand that. Like, to think about kids understanding that, I don't see it.
Exactly. So why again, another thing was stickiness. Stickiness is apparently how people stick things out.
Oh,
And
like,
watch-
do
and
they
wa- and watch the
watch
whole-
it to the end?
Yeah, and they're talking about another series, because another thing they base their stats on as well is the how much it cost compared to what the revenue brought in.
Oh,
and
wow.
this didn't cost a lot. It cost probably the equivalent of a few episodes of The Crown, and yet it's brought
wow.
in. And by the way, another bit of useless information. Maybe not that useful. The director made a deal with Netflix and at the beginning and signed a contract, but it wasn't based on performance. So
Oh, really?
he might feel he's lost out.
Oh,
Yeah. He got
that's
paid,
too
he got paid
bad.
for the series, and that was it. No?
Oh, man, and then it took off internationally.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
could have made a lot more.
He might change the contract for the next series.
I hope
don't-
he does.
don't
Good
know.
for. I hope he should. I mean, because this is like we say, it's taking off. Whether it's good or bad that it's taking off, like the director should earn his money for it, because it's definitely different from anything I've ever seen, and that I appreciate about it. You know, like
Different but recommendable. I mean, if you were to recommend, what would you recommend? Squid Games or Bridgerton?
well, I haven't watched Bridgerton.
But
Yeah, and so I don't even want it for myself, to be honest.
yeah. So
Okay,
you
but
probably you probably recommend Squid Games if you had, if that
to
was a
another
choice.
adult, yes. To another adult, I would love for them and me to sit down, watch it, and then we just sit for like an hour with a bottle of wine and we talk about what we just watched. That,
Yeah.
to me, would be perfect.
Yeah.
Because of all the dynamics, though, happening in it. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's crazy to think about, like, the dynamics of an old man kind of, like, leaving his, like, last years of his life to go and...
Risk everything.
Risk everything, exactly. And the way they do it, and then how they use, like, the experience from their lives to overcome the games.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting too. I mean, like I said, I'm only in episode 4. Maybe it takes a turn and goes a different way, but the first episodes have been kind of really mind-opening.
Yeah.
I
Well, I won't
know.
spoil it for you and tell you how it ends.
No, don't tell me, please.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, good.
But
no,
I
no
was kind of
spoiler
reading
alert.
up and there's spoilers, and I thought, I don't mind reading spoilers
No.
because I don't really, I just don't think I'm gonna read through it. I just don't, or see it. Sorry.
I don't know if I'm going to see the whole thing. I'm kind of like, I'm stuck with the episode 4 because it did turn a bit more violent than the other ones, like where people are turning against one another, and so that like takes on a different dynamic. But still, I think I'll probably at least watch a couple more.
Yeah, and I just kind of wait and see what's the next big thing to hit. You know, when you think Bridgerton, and then suddenly Squid Games. You know, I mean, are
Yeah,
we totally
right?
manipulated? Like, what will they have us be? What will they have us watching next?
I know.
Oh, we'll just have to watch this spot, and as we say, we'll just have to mention a lot more Squid Games, Netflix.
Yeah.
You know. So
Oh,
we
but-
could up our subscribers. We 44 million. I'm not asking for that. Really, or we're not really asking for.
Oh,
40.
God, no.
That would be too much.
I just want to have a conversation with, like, a real conversation about Squid Games with someone. So, so just write in the comments and I'll be happy.
Exactly. Just give us your thoughts. Just give us your thoughts.
That's
you know?
right.
Okay, so see you next month. Next month, the last month of the year.
Ah, that's right. Christmas time.
Yeah.
All right,
by the
everyone.
way, happy Thanksgiving. You're
Ah,
next
yes.
week.
Yeah. Turkey's coming.
Okay.
Turkey's coming. It's
Enjoy.
ordered.
Brilliant. Excellent.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.